Hey everybody, how you... Okay. Hey everybody, how you doing? Teching and Barry here, back again. I have finally settled on what to call this entity back here, okay? Because we were kind of debating for a while. Should it be called, like, Fake Barry, Plushy Barry, Barry 2, Barry, Delta, or whatever the hell? I've decided to simply go with Clone Barry. Okay, because then we can have, like, a Star Wars reference in here. Like, we can have, like, the Clone Wars basically going on. Also, they're gonna be numbered based off of an awesome anime I used to watch as a kid, Cyborg 009. So this is Clone Barry 001. And then all the other ones that will go out into the world this summer will be notched up further into the numbers, okay? So, yeah, Clone Wars. Yeah, everybody, you ready for the Clone Wars? I'm ready for the Clone Wars. I mean, it was bound to happen at some point. Look, like, we cloned, sheep. Wasn't it, like, sheep one of the first things that were cloned? Dolly the sheep. So, I think other things have been cloned since then or whatever. So it was either gonna be sheep or plushies of a brick or human clones. I don't know, but the Clone Wars were bound to happen at some point. So get ready for that. All right, so we got a lot of supplemental material this week. This is great. We got SBS 98 revealed in Volume 98, so I covered that yesterday. And in fact, the same day I was reading the SBS of Volume 98, someone also tweeted at me like, hey, Volume 11 of the One Piece magazine is also out today. And I'm like, whoa, holy crap, it is. Now, as we all know, every time we get an edition of the One Piece magazine, we get a lot of really cool stuff, like some extra bonus art by Oda and everything. This time, not Nami isn't the only one that had the power of the Goro Goro no Mi. Oda's going full power with this, because now we have Boa Hancock having the powers of the Rumble Rumble fruit. Poor Eneru, man. Poor Eneru. He leaves for like 2 years, and it's like Vegeta at the beginning of the Great Saiyaman arc, with Trunks. It's just like, man, it's like a Super Saiyan bargain sale in here, It's like he leaves, and Nami's got the Goro Goro no Mi, freaking Boa Hancock's got the Goro Goro no Mi. He just comes back down to a bunch of, like, everybody can control the powers of lightning and thunder now. I'm not special anymore. Poor Eneru. But at any rate, this is pretty funny here. It kind of, like, it gives an impression that it would be like a shonen battle manga, but also just the way Luffy is drawn, it's like getting into the shoujo aspect too. I don't know exactly what the premise would be, but I would read it, you know what I mean? Alright, but on top of that awesome piece of artwork, we also got artwork for 2 new devil fruits, or old devil fruits that are given new designs, okay? This happens in every single magazine. I used to make videos about every one that came out. I've kind of been slacking on that in the last few editions, so sorry. I know we got, well, there's a few I already did videos on, like, we had Alvida's Slip fruit. I already did a video on that years ago, and then there was also Smoker's Logia, the smoke fruit, right, the plume fruit or whatever, and I haven't made a video about that yet, but his is a Logia, so, I've made videos on Logias before, but I don't know if the smoke fruit could really warrant one, but I should probably do one anyway. At any rate, today we got devil fruit designs for the Bomu Bomu No Mi, wielded by Mr. 5 of Baroque Works, and the Kilo Kilo no Mi, wielded by Miss.Valentine, also of Baroque Works, that make up the Mr. 5 team that are introduced in Whiskey Peak. Actually, I believe the first 2 devil fruit users that are revealed in the Grand Line, because we didn't get any devil fruit users. I don't think Crocus didn't have a devil fruit. I don't think Laboon had a devil fruit. Mr. 8, Miss Monday, VV, Mr. 9, they didn't have devil fruit. So yeah, it would have been Mr. 5 and Miss.Valentine that were the first that actually had those powers. Okay, so that's pretty cool, right? And of course, Mr. 5, as we learn from a Vivra card later on in the, much like years after his introduction, his real name is Gem of the Border, and Miss.Valentine's real name is Makita. So that's pretty cool, right? And so I could just do separate videos for both of them, but I think I could just, group them all into one video today. The way that we're going with this also with the magazine, we already covered all of the devil fruits that the Straw Hats have used. So Robbins and Brooks and everybody on top of, like, Choppers, and we already knew what Luffy's looked like as well. I think the next 2 devil fruits that are on the block for volume 12 of the magazine would probably be, they actually skipped over Dalton. We've gotten Wapples and we got Choppers, but we haven't gotten Dalton's yet, so we'll probably get Dalton's devil fruit, his bison fruit, the first zone actually ever revealed in the story, so I hope they don't forget about Dalton. And then the next person would either be Mr. 2 Bon Clay with the clone fruit, or just skip to crocodile's Sune Sune no Mi, his Sand fruit. But anyway, those are for future editions of the One Piece magazine. Let's talk about this edition right now. Let's start off with the Bomu Bomu no Mi, which I might go with the Japanese version for that, because I don't know how many times I could say bomb in a YouTube video before, like, something gets demonetized nowadays. So let's just go with either Bomu Bomu no Mi, or we could go with the Funimation version, the Boom Boom fruit, which, in terms of a localization name, that's really not all that bad. I mean, it's basically like an onomatopoeia you would see in, like, I don't know, it's like an old episode of Dragon Ball with the capsules. It's like, boom! And then the smoke pops out, and then there you go. At any rate, whatever. It looks like an old school cartoon explosive, something that you would see like Bugs Bunny or Daffy Duck use back in the day. The big round ones with the fuse coming out and like the did those ever actually exist, or was that just something that, like, you know, a cartoonist came up with in, like, the 20s for exaggerated effect? I'm not really sure. But at any rate, it looks like this, which is kind of interesting that it's designed like that, with the stem resembling a fuse and like little hairs and bristles coming out of the fuse stem or whatever, and so it looks like it's like, ignited and it's about to detonate, right? Okay, so that means, and we've already talked about this before, like Robin living on Ohara, you know, had to be just maybe so hungry one day that she found a flower, because that's what the Hana Hana no Mi looks like. It looks more like a flower than a straight up fruit, like an apple or something. So it's kind of sad when you think about it, like Robin was just so hungry that her like aunt and uncle hadn't fed her in forever, so she found a random flower in the woods and just ate it, and that's how she probably got her devil fruit powers, right? So that's kind of sad. But then you look at this, and it's just like, alright, so Mr. Five finds this, or Baroque Works, like, gives it to him or something, and just like, we found you a devil fruit, Mr. Five, here you go, and be like, that's a bomb. I'm like, no, it's 100% a fruit. Okay, are you sure? Because this thing really looks like a bomb. No, I know it does, but it's a fruit, believe me. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, you would take a bite of it, I guess, because you know devil fruits exist in the One Piece world, but, you know, maybe you could cut into it first, you know, to make sure it's not like a plastic explosive or something, right? Like, you cut into it, like, ah! Alright, I guess it's a fruit. Okay, cool. And so he ate it, and he got the powers of the Bomu Bomu no Mi. With Blackbeard going around the Grand Line right now, you know, trying to amass strong devil fruits, I made that video on, like, the list of devil fruits that they would probably want to go after, the ones that are, like, in the book and everything, the encyclopedia. I would probably assume that Mr. Five's fruit would be on the list, at least for consideration, okay? Because it's actually pretty damn strong, okay? The Bomu Bomu no Mi allows Mr. Five to turn any part of his body that's either part of it or separated from it into an explosive. So already, like, there you go. And the explosions are proportionate to whatever he takes. So his most common ability that he's seen using is his nose fancy cannon, which is literally an ability where he picks his nose, which I'm not going to do because that would be very rude. He picks his nose, takes out a booger, and then he just flings it at his enemy. And even a tiny little booger from his nose has enough explosive power to, like, it's got some kick to it, alright? I'm not gonna measure how much damage it causes, because I don't freaking know how to calculate that, but, you know, he takes out a booger, and he flicks it, and it's like, boom! It's a decent-sized explosion. It can leave a little bit of a crater in the middle of a street, okay? And so that's the first kind of ability he's shown to use, but it doesn't have to be a booger. It could be literally anything. It could be his earwax. It could be he could take a hair off of his head and probably throw it, and that would explode. You know, hair off anywhere on his body, I guess, by that logic. Dead skin, I guess. You know, a fingernail. We're getting kind of into weird aspects of this, but it's any part of his body that's either part of his body or he takes off and separates. So I guess in that regard, the easiest thing for him to do, the booger cannon, is a little strange. It's a little weird, you know, for a really badass assassin in a criminal organization to utilize, but it's probably the easiest thing because, yeah, he could rip off a hair off of his head, but a hair, you know, you can't really... Hold on, let me see if... Oh, wow. Okay. I pulled out a lot of hair there. My hair is very, it's very thin. I don't know if you could see that, but alright, I don't know why I did that. But anyway, you know, you can't just, like, hair cannon! Bo-bo-bo-bo-bo-bo-bo! Yeah, it's not gonna go very far. It's not gonna be very aerodynamic, okay? Unless you, like, rip out a giant wad of hair and then, like, tie it up or something, and then you throw it at the enemy. So, boogers are like, earwax. Even then, that's kind of like, like, this is getting disgusting. My point is, boogers are the best. They're the most optimal technique to use with the Bomu Bomu No Mi. And you claim otherwise, I really don't know what to tell you. They're right there, easy access, and just boop, and then boom, okay? But he has some other abilities too. Even his breath is explosive. He has a gun that he utilizes during Little Garden where he takes out a gun. It's like a revolver. He says it's like a new model from the South Blue or whatever. And so he just opens it up, and it's like empty, rounds in the chambers or whatever. There's no bullets in there. He just breathes into the chambers like, and he gives it a really cool name. It's the Breeze Breath Bomb, I think. And so he just breathes into the chambers and just... and then he can fire off invisible bullets that explode on contact. So, I'm not really sure how that works exactly. Like, you're breathing into the chambers, and, like, your breath, does it, like, coalesce into the shape of the chambers so it makes the perfect shape of a bullet? And then when you fire it off, it operates like a bullet where it doesn't... you'd think it would just explode right away if your breath is explosive, but no, it's like the breath goes into the chamber, makes the shape of a bullet, it's just made out of breath so you can't see it with the naked eye, and then fires it, and it doesn't go off until it connects with something. So... yeah, that's a very cool technique. Not really sure how it works, but it's a cool technique. And so he also has basic things like an explosive punch, an explosive kick. Anything he punches or kicks will explode. Any explosion that occurs does not harm him, and that is something that is important to mention because there are other devil fruits like Baby Five's Buki no Mi, her arms fruit, where she can turn her body into weapons. Yeah, if she turns into Missile Girl and launches herself, she doesn't get damaged by that, but it was revealed at the end of Dressrosa when she was having that interaction with Sai, she can make her weapons injure herself if she so chooses. Not the case with Mr. Five. So even if he takes his fist, and if you imagine how much damage, a booger or a hair does, an actual, like, explosive punch, I feel like that there's a thing in another anime somewhere where there's a character that has, like, an explosive punch. I might be just thinking of Fairy Tail, like Natsu's, like, Dragon Leveler Fist or whatever. It's been a while since I've read Fairy Tail. Like Demolition Fist, that's what it is. The thing that he used to KO a war god that one time. So maybe I'm thinking of that, but I'm thinking of, like, some other anime out there where a character just punches something and they explode, all right? I don't know. Probably in Yu Yu Hakusho at some point, or Dragon Ball, I'm guessing. But at any rate, so he can, like, just punch you, giant explosion, his fist, his arm, everything, his bones, they're okay. They're not going to be, they're not even going to be like, covered in soot or anything from the explosion, because there's big, smoke clouds that go off whenever he detonates. So those are very dangerous as well. And his most strongest technique, yes, is a technique we actually haven't gotten to see, but he did confirm that he could use it, and this is his full body explosion, all right? So this is actually probably rather similar to the time that Baby Five did use her Missile Girl against Frankie, where she turned into a missile and then struck Frankie. I see you moving back here. And struck Frankie, and then she just, like, molded back, like, the T-1000 into her regular form, right? And so I'm imagining something similar would happen here with Mr. Five. He put, like, Usopp in, like, a full Nelson, kind of going, like, Goku versus Raditz style. He's like, get ready for a full body explosion. Like, after this is over, even your bones will be pulverized. They'll be gone. It'll be ash. And so I have no freaking question on whether or not if he would have detonated, Usopp would have died, because I feel like he would have, like 100%, right? Like, we saw how much damage just a booger and a punch or a kick does, and then the breath does that much damage, so you can imagine his entire body going up at once would be an insane power of destructive force, several tons of dynamite probably involved here, right? And so right before he detonates, though, Zoro jumps out of the fire, which was, of course, after Usopp lit the giant cake wax candle set on fire. Little Garden was a weird arc. Anyway, Zoro jumps out with flaming katanas, and he slices down Mr. Five. But yeah, we were really close to Usopp just dying right there, right? And so I imagine after the explosion is over, it would just be like, whoosh, boom, and then, like, a giant crater, and everything would be wiped out. Kind of similar to maybe Kuma's Ursus shock. He does the Ursus shoku, and then it's like, whoosh, and then everything goes quiet as it detonates, and just like a flash of light, like a nuke going off, and then flash. You know, it might have been something like that with Mr. Five's like full body explosion, and then his body would just like, you know, like just like Baby Five's, just like recongeal and reform into himself. So with all those things in consideration, the Bomu Bomu No Mi, I mean, just from the name, you think that'd be a pretty powerful, you know, combat fruit. And I think, you know, that might be something Blackbeard's gonna go after. So we might not get a scene with that. That would be kind of funny with, like, maybe Burgess or Lafitte or Shiryu or maybe Avalo Pizarro or Katarina Devon, Vasco shot. Get somebody that we haven't really seen much of, go to the island where the Baroque Works agents are. Like, they track them down, and they're like, oh, they're running a cafe out in the middle of the desert. Vasco shot, go and take their powers. But certainly, I think out of the Baroque Work agents that are like all together right now, running the Spider Cafe on that island, probably the most devastating one is probably Mr. Five's. So you better watch out there, Mr. Five. We might get a scene where they show up, or it could just be a scene where we, whenever after Wano, we cut over to Hachinosu, and we get the full power of Blackbeard's crew and all the Devil Fruit users that he has at his disposal. Like, you know, we have obviously like Katarina Devon with the nine-tailed fox fruit, and we have Shiryu with the clear fruit now. Maybe Moria's working for them, or they killed Moria and took his Kage no Mi, so somebody else has, like, Avaro Pizarro has the Kage now or something. And we might also cut to maybe a lesser member of the crew, not a member of the 10 Titanic captains, but like a high-ranking member of the crew that has the power of the bomb fruit. And it was just like off-screen, like they found Mr. Five and then they killed him and took his fruit. Like that could be something too. Oda might very well, because we're introducing a concept with Blackbeard like stealing devil fruits, so Oda might take this opportunity to recycle a lot of them, definitely. So maybe we'll see the Bomu Bomu No Mi in action again. But anyway, yeah, that's Mr. Five's fruit. So let's move on now to Makita, Miss.Valentine, and her ability, the Kilo No Mi. And I am particularly upset about this fruit because I'm an American, and we're like the only major country in the world that uses something other than metric, so that means I have to do conversions. Conversions! 1 kilogram equals 2.2 pounds. How the hell am I supposed to remember that? 2.2 pounds, Barry? By the way, in case you want some little random fact, I guess, I've always been curious why the pound abbreviation in America is always LB, because it's pound, LB. There's no L in the word pound, so where does the L come from? From what I understand, it's because of Libra. Libra in Latin, you know, the balancing scales and stuff, and so LB, the Libra, and then pound measurement, and so that's the understanding that I have. At any rate, Miss.Valentine has the ability, the Kilo no Mi. It looks like this. It's like a hooked weight, so just a big block and then like a hook for a stem that you could, like, you know, set on something. At least it looks a little bit safer than the Bomu Bomu No Mi, right? You know what I mean? And it gives her the ability to alter her body weight from anywhere from 1 kilogram at the lightest to 10,000 kilograms at the heaviest, and she can change up and down that slide as long as it's in between those two weights whenever she pleases, altering her mass at will. But her actual physical body does not change at all. It's only just the weight, right? So she maintains her appearance, like the hourglass figure that, you know, Oda draws a lot of women in the story, maintains that figure at all times. So if she were to go to 1,000 kilograms, that would be equivalent to about 2,200 pounds, which is basically, it's a little bit over a ton, so that's crazy. By the way, that's something else too. There's comparisons to the Kilo no Mi and its upgraded form, the Ton no Mi, which is Mach-Weiss's fruit. So Mach-Weiss has the upgraded form, which is the super weighted human, which is in tons rather than in kilos. And I'm not going to get too much into it here because this isn't Mach-Weiss's video, but I did find it kind of confusing because while doing research, I'm like, there's more than just one kind of ton. There's short tons, there's long tons, and there's metric tons. And I think with Mach-Weiss, it's metric tons. All right. So I think, because the way I always learned it in school was that a ton is 2,000 pounds. That's the way I learned it. But I think a metric ton in pounds is like 2,200 pounds, which is 1,000 kilograms. Okay, so just, you know, everybody else in the world probably understands this, but in the States, we have a little bit of a different kind of system here. So yeah. Anyway, 1,000 kilograms is about 2,200 pounds, and then 10,000 kilograms, her maximum output is 22,000 pounds. So at any rate, ridiculously heavy. Okay, so 2 pounds to 22,000. pretty crazy there, okay? And I don't think I need to explain really how she uses this ability, okay? Well, actually, she does use it in some creative ways. She doesn't just use it to, like, crush people, which she does. She has an ability called the Crescendo Stone, which is like a torture technique, where, you know, Usopp's on the ground, like, defeated. He's, like, crawling. He can't really move. And then Miss.Valentine just goes over and sits on Usopp. Some people might find that a torture, other people might not be. She just sits down on Usopp and just sits there and just, like, incrementally increases her weight, because she can do that whenever she wants, you know, freedom of whenever she alters her weight. So she's just there and just like, well, let's start at 10 kilograms, now 50 kilograms, 100 kilograms, 1,000 kilograms, and, like, slowly, incrementally increasing the weight and, like, crushing Usopp, like, oh, okay, can you please stop now? You know, to the point where she would eventually, like, break his spine in half or, like, pulverize his bones, okay? And she does it in such, like, a chill, like, way of just, like, yes, you know, 50 kilograms, 100 kilograms, 200 kilograms. So that's how she does it. And so that's an interesting technique from her. The other creative way she uses it is wherever she goes, she always carries her lemon umbrella with her lemon dress and her lemon hat and her lemon earrings. It goes rather well. At any rate, she has a lemon umbrella. Now, the lightest she can possibly make herself is 2.2 pounds or 1 kilogram, okay? Which I don't know if I have anything in my room that's like, you know, Barry's actually, I said this before, Barry's total weight is about closer to 5 pounds. This is a candle, you know, and it's all actually almost halfway burned down, okay? So, yeah, this maybe feels, this is, oh god, they put it in ounces and grams, okay, I don't know. This says 18 ounces, 510 grams, but that's at full. Obviously, something that weighs 2 pounds or 1 kilogram is not going to just, not gonna float in the air very well, okay? But that's why she has the umbrella, okay? So how she does this is if she, like, is on top of a building and she weighs her normal weight, whatever that is, we actually don't know what her normal weight is, you know, Oda's not gonna reveal that information. So anyway, she can jump off the building and then immediately reduce her weight to just 2 pounds, which, you know, she would still fall, but she would fall slower, and if the wind is going, she can pull out her umbrella and, you know, has enough drag or whatever, and she can, you know, so not really flight, but she can float, you know, and she can glide, okay? I feel like maybe, I don't know, I mean, like, I guess it's magic here we're talking about, because her body's size doesn't actually change, it's just her weight that changes, right? And so, you know, with that being the case, would she need necessarily, like, I'm thinking maybe a bigger umbrella for her to get, like, enough airtime up there? I don't know, I just feel like if you took this and attached, like, the umbrella size that she has and, like, throw it, I don't know, that might be a good science experiment when it's not freezing outside. Maybe when it gets to be warmer outside, I'll run that experiment. I'll just go and buy a 2-pound weight, and then I'll get, like, an umbrella or something, and then tie it to the weight and throw it off my roof and see how much airtime it gets. Okay, maybe that's good. But once again, this is One Piece logic and all that stuff there. So in that logic, she gets a lot of airtime. She can jump, and she's in the air, and then when she's about to drop, she closes the umbrella, and she goes from 1 kilogram to, like, 1,000 kilogram press. And then, you know, that's like terminal velocity right there. Look at me just throwing around a bunch of terms. Weight, mass, terminal velocity. I really don't know the correlation to any of those, but I'm using the words, and that's all that matters, right? So, you know, throwing them out there, and the things drop, and then terminal velocity, and then, like, you know, up high enough, and it hits that point, and it would cause some serious damage when it hits the ground, especially if she's alternating, if she's high enough up there, and she goes from, like, 1 kilogram to 10,000 right out of the gate. I mean, that's gonna leave a sizable crater, probably something equivalent to what Mr. 5 can do, right? So, yeah, there you go. That's the Kilo no Mi. Those are the only real techniques she's got with this. Let's talk about awakenings a little bit. All right, so Mr. 5's awakening, I don't know, like, would it, like, genuinely just be a nuke? Because I'm pretty sure, you know, he only had a bounty of 10 million, and he was one of the, you know, he was an officer agent, but he was the lowest ranked officer agent in Baroque Works, so I don't think he'd, like, mastered his fruit to that level. But if Mr. 5's Bomu Bomu No Mi would be awakened, that's another really cool thing that Oda could do, is if he brings back these devil fruits to be used by Blackbeard's crew or somebody else, he could now introduce the awakenings of them, maybe, and so we could see them in whole new, like, respects or whatever. So maybe, like, if Luffy went up against Mr. 5 now, like even back during Whiskey Peak, it looked like Luffy didn't have much trouble just one-shotting Mr. 5. But, you know, if he goes up against like the awakened version of the Bomu Bomu No Mi, that would be a different, you know, scenario altogether. So I would imagine the awakening there with that paramecia would just probably be the increase of destructive power. Either that, or he can turn other things into explosives. But that's also kind of Gladys's, like, his, like, pop fruit. You know, when Gladys, and nobody really ever talks about Gladys. He had that really cool steampunk design in Doflamingo's crew. I never see anybody talking about him. I think Grand Line made a video about him once, so go check that out. But I gotta make a video about Gladys at some point. It just, for the fact that just he looks so damn cool, right? Okay, at any rate, that's Gladys's pop fruit. He can kind of, like, touch objects and have it, like, inflate, and then they explode, right? And so that might be kind of going into that territory there. So either that or just up the explosions to like a nuclear level, right? Whenever Mr. 5, you know, detonates or something, you could just do that. That would be very devastating if that's the case. And then Miss.Valentine is interesting, the Kilo no Mi, because, you know, just getting heavier, that's getting into the realms of the ton fruit. So maybe it would be. Maybe if you awaken the Kilo no Mi, it's basically the same thing as the ton fruit. But then what happens when you awaken the ton fruit? You get even heavier. I don't know, use like planet-sized weight. I don't know, planet-level weight. Or you could just do the thing where it's like she touches an object and that gets heavily weighted. And I can honestly see that being very useful in a battle, like certainly, right? Like if you're fighting in a building or something, you could just like touch the wall and have the whole like structure of the building like pfft, you know, like collapse on somebody. Or maybe when you're not inside of the building, maybe like you run into a building and then you run up on the roof and someone else is in the building and you just like touch the building and you increase the weight of the roof to like, you know, 10,000 kilograms and then just poosh, it just crushes the whole structure. Maybe something like that you could use in a combat mechanic, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, those are those two devil fruits, and I feel like, yeah, I might have been able to make a full video about Mr. 5's fruit, but I don't know if I could have done the full, you know, 20 minutes on the Kilo no Mi, because, I mean, I guess I could have, but most of that would have just been me trying to understand metric, right? So that's all that would have been. At any rate, let's see here. Has anybody lift weights out there? Anybody go to the gym and lift weights? I got some 10-pound weights over there I haven't really touched in months. You know, so that's a thing. The other night, a couple weeks ago, I was in the shower and I dropped a shampoo bottle on my foot and it left a giant bruise. So there's that. So be careful with shampoo bottles, because they don't weigh a lot, but apparently they can leave a big enough bruise on your foot. So that's a thing. I've heard people breaking their toes and stuff with that. So be careful around, if you lift weights, be careful, you know, make sure to have a spot and everything. You know, you don't want to be lifting weights by yourself at 2 a.m. with nobody around. You want to be safe here, right? And, avoid fruits that precariously look like a cartoon explosives from like the 1930s. I think that's the overall message from this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, I feel like Clone Barry 001 has moved around a little bit here, so he's enacting his master plan, so that's cool. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Teching 101 signing out. Have a good one. Later, everyone.